up, great. First up, Paul Joseph is here from the Wyckoff Museum, and he has a presentation for us. So take it away, Paul. Hi.
You might be muted.
I'm not hearing Paul. Can anyone else?
No, I don't hear him at all. He has to unmute himself.
It looks like he's unmuted, but maybe there's something wrong with the audio.
You can hear us, log out, log back in. Paul, log out, log back in. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, Cindy Reed, the community organizer from East Flatbush Community Partnership. Are you ready to present?
Everyone, yeah, they here.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna wait for Paul to log back in. I don't see Cindy anymore either.
I see her on the participant list.
Okay. Daniel Heredia.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening, Daniel. We're waiting for Paul to do a presentation. Would you like to start with yours? Daniel Heredia is from the Legislative and Policy Liaison from Councilmember Farah Lewis's office.
Happy to start. Yes, good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm not able to turn on my camera today as I am in transit briefly, but I wanted to join just to, on request of Chair Antoine, to give a brief update on some of the upcoming things that will be pertaining to parks in the coming months, particularly as it pertains to the budget. Firstly, it's important to say, the council member wishes for condolences for Burlat Antoine's father. We'll be making sure to follow up as needed in the next week or so. In terms of the process that is affecting parks coming up right now, we're entering the budget season. So we've been in numerous conversations over the past few months about working with the Parks Department on things that concern the community, especially at the Pattergate and Tilden Play Parks, which are within Council District 45. We've made some other connections in working with for Railroad Playground, introducing Councilmember Chris Banks to the community and to this committee, which is essential as we approach capital funding season. So right now, the current status of working through trying to get some renovations done, particularly at Tilden Playground right now, has to do with putting together a formal proposal. Months ago, I joined with members of this committee on a walkthrough with parks officials, namely the parks manager at Tilden Playground, to go over some of the things that will need to go in our capital ask to the mayor. That's going to be the asphalt, that's going to be the storyboards, that's going to be the playground equipment. Now, this total price is usually around a few $1 million. And we're trying to basically negotiate with the Parks Department on how can we make it more cost effective to get a better chance of OMB picking it up this year. We were able to get some things secured in terms of tree guards last year with our participatory budgeting process. However, we do know that Parks is dragging their feet with the project. However, for all of the tree guards project that won last year, we did get an update that they're now finally registering contracts to install them in the community, especially along Tilden Park, especially along the East 30th, 31st, 32nd, 33rd, between Nostrand and New York Avenues. That was another project that won within CB17 last year. They're finally registering contracts, so then we can start to see some tree guards installed this year. So we'll be following up. I'll also have my budget director, Blake Shaw, on next month to go over what the minutia of those items are. But I wanted to give an update to let everyone know that as we approach budget season, we're definitely looking to get some capital upgrades into our parks, and Councilmember Lewis is going to be advocating for those things. So let me know if you have any questions on any specifics, but I'm here to support. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Adele Bennett?
Yes. Hi, Daniel.
Good evening.
Yes, you said you're gonna it's gonna be budgeted for the parks. How many parks is that exactly?
Repeat the question one more time. How many parks is where?
How many parks? Yeah, I'm gonna get updated.
Yes. So Councilmember Lewis has two major parks that cover CB17. Well, three. That's Nostrand Playground.
Yes.
That is Nostrand Playground. That's Pattergate Park, as well as Tilden Playground. Tilden Playground is the priority right now, as it is the longest overdue for any capital renovation. There's some other stuff that's happening in the CB 18 and 14 areas that we have to advocate for as well. But Tilden Playground is the one that we're going to be pushing for the most, because that has been so long neglected by the Parks Department. So, but it's the three parks that we cover. Nostrand Playground already has received upgraded basketball courts because of in the last few years. Obviously, the Shirley Chisholm Recreational Center is opening later this year, probably late summer, early fall. So that is not due for any capital projects right now. And then there's always Pattergate. But Pattergate mainly, we're just have to keep on getting on parks for general maintenance, cleanliness. It's less of a capital renovation issue. It's just making sure that Parks is cleaning up the park on a more frequent basis. So those are the three parks that we cover in CB17.
You know who covers Railroad Park and Witness between 9 and 2nd?
Yes, so Railroad Park is in CD 42, so that's Chris Banks. And so our office was able to make the connection with Chair Antoine some weeks ago to make sure that she could make that formal ask to Councilmember Banks. There's some overlap in terms of how can we all support each other for all Central Brooklyn parks, but for his park, he has to submit that budget ask himself to the mayor's office.
All right, thank you. Oh, there is one more question. Is there
Okay,
any
Jackie
way?
Williams? Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yes, good evening. I'm very excited that it appears that something is going to be done, hopefully to do some long overdue renovation in Tilden Park. But I'm also concerned, I have a question about the lighting in that park. Do you think that's going to be addressed anytime soon?
The what in the park? I'm sorry.
The lighting,
The lighting, yes.
Yes.
So lighting will be part of the capital project.
Oh,
Because
okay.
because the issue is that they don't want to install lights because they have to tear up the street, and basically it's not just one contract. It's not just an electrical contract. They have to do the concrete over. They have to do the dredging over. it has to be a multi-million-dollar contract to even get that in. We couldn't just say, we were told
Right.
last year we can't just ask for lighting, we got to ask for a whole thing. But that
Oh,
actually
okay,
will
a
improve,
package, yeah.
that will
Mhm.
improve our chances of getting it in this year for FY26.
Very
So,
good.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing
of
that. Thank
course,
you.
of course.
Okay. That's all for questions. Thank you so much, Daniel.
My pleasure. I'll put my contact and email in the chat if anyone needs to reach out to me between this month and next. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Paul.
All right. Is everybody able to hear me this time around?
Yes. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Adele has one question. Is it possible to
Mhm.
put large no smoking signs in our parks?
That's
I
what
think that was
Daniel.
for Daniel.
I think Daniel has left. He said you could put it in the chat, the question.
Okay. Okay, we'll take note and find out later. I'm sorry. Paul?
All right. Do I have sharing permissions to begin the PowerPoint slide?
I'm trying to see if the board can issue that permission. Okay, let me see. Hmm.
You should be able to just share your screen.
Okay.
Does it not give you that option?
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Wonderful.
Great.
Okay, so first off, greetings from the Wyckoff House Museum. Let's play this slide. Show that. Here we go. Okay, so first, we're a historic house museum located inside Fiddler Wyckoff City Park. That's the name of the park, at the intersection of Clarendon Road and Ralph Avenue. The park comprises 10% of public green space in East Flatbush. That's a big percentage, but we are just an acre and a half of land, and approximately a quarter of that is devoted to growing produce that we use for educational purposes, as well as our seasonal farm stand. So in this picture, this is from our St. Nicholas Day on December 6th. In this photo, we have some of the students, but we also have some of the staff. So to the left of St. Nicholas is Melissa Bramfman, that's our executive director. To the right is Danielle Hilkin, director of outreach and education. I'm in the back with the full beard and hat. That's me, Paul Joseph. I'm the farm and community engagement manager. Then there's Petra Koropigis, who is directly in front of St. Nicholas, and they are the education and public programs coordinator. Then out in front, next to her is Isabella Podapenko, and she is our bookkeeper and administrator. And then we also see some part-time staff in there. Faye Pigus is behind Danielle with the purple hair. Then we have, and she is a former garden apprentice turned educator and garden apprentice instructor. Then we have Scott Thomas, who's on the far right standing. And we recently hired his wife Martine as another educator. So we have a board of directors with Joan Baccaridden serving as president of the board for the past 5 years now, at least. As well as a lot of family member descendants of Peter Clayson Wyckoff, the first Wyckoff to establish the house there. A lot of the board members are Wyckoff descendants. Some live nearby, some live out of state, but they usually come for community events, and we host a wide variety of them. So come springtime, listen out for Pinkster. We have local artists come through and play a lot of the traditional music and discuss the historical significance of Pinkster in the historic Dutch New Amersfoort, New Amsterdam. Then we have Festival Minoken, which is a Haitian voodoo festival. And we have that in July. And mind you, all of these events are free to the public. So, and you can actually reach out to us through our website, as well as through my email. My email is garden@wyckoffmuseum.org. And so this is another event, the Halloween Spooktacular, that falls on our very last farm stand of the season, which is the last Saturday in October. And so we have all sorts of activities, including a costume competition of which the little girl on the right was the champion, undisputed. And then, as I said before, we have St. Nicholas Day. So we have someone dressed as St. Nicholas come through on a horse, and they read a story to children in the historic house. We also have a bunch of different refreshments, including oliekoeks, which are these fried dough desserts that date back to Dutch New York, Dutch Brooklyn. When it comes to volunteering, we welcome anybody and everybody, and we're open Tuesday through Saturday. So those are our open days. The hours can vary. This is due to other events that could be going on. We also have school programs that come through on top of youth programs that are scheduled in. So depending on the time of year, we have a little more availability than others, but the best thing to do, again, is to reach out to us in advance so that we can cater a volunteer opportunity to your liking. This can include weeding, composting, planting, and even some of the workshops we offer. We love to have volunteers help set up for those as well. In the past, we've developed partnerships with other organizations. The most recent was with the New York Families for Autistic Children. The people in that organization contributed 150 volunteer hours last year. So they provided this wonderful outdoor experience to clients where they were able to integrate with a lot of our youth programs as well. Then we also have Farmhouse Family Days. These are the third Saturday of every month, starting this month. They're from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the activities are for all ages. This can include tree giveaways, planting, and different arts and craft activities, as you can see in the left-handed picture. My favorite part of the season, though, is the Garden Apprentice program. It goes from July to October, and we run this program where they get to learn more about gardening, learning about larger scale farming than what we're able to provide at our site, and as well as operating farm stands. So this apprenticeship has grown from 3 apprentices in 2020 to 12 apprentices last year. In addition to increasing the number of apprentices, we've also been able to increase the number of hours. From when I started in 2021, they probably received about 140, 150 hours, but by adding on an additional day, we've been able to get that up to over 180 hours. So part of the program involves workshops and field trips. So in these photos, we took the students to Earth Matter on Governor's Island. So that was for many of them, it was their first time taking the ferry from Manhattan to Governor's Island and helping out with some of the different activities they had going on, which was turning compost, feeding goats and chickens, and seeing what composting looks like on a much larger scale. Then we have the Brooklyn Grange at Navy Yard. So this is on top of the 9th story. of a large building in the Navy Yard, and they just have a fully functioning for-profit farm so that they get to have an idea of what urban farming can be and what they can participate and the different foodways they can participate in. As I said before, we have some different workshops. On the left, those were our two returning garden apprentices. So they were there with us in 2023, but they decided to take on more leadership responsibilities and came back as senior gap. And this is with their finished beehive box. On the right-hand side, a former farmer with us ran a pickling workshop. Through here, we also had jam making, beekeeping, and pinhole photography. And with each of these workshops, we like to tie in how this enhances and influences agricultural life, whether it's urban or rural. So again, it can be anything from the practical, so preserving foods, to the more expressive, such as the photography and the painting, so that they have an idea of activities that they also get to lead later on in the season. So in our program, we've in the past couple of years, we've been much more intentional about prioritizing recruitment in the different neighborhoods surrounding us. So that includes East Flatbush, Brownsville, Canarsie, and East New York. Last year, we were able to incorporate students who exclusively spoke Haitian Creole. We were able to translate a lot of documents that they needed just to when it came to documents that they needed to fill out for employment, as well as documents needed to participate in the various workshops and the farm stand. And this is just to say that we are trying to focus this program toward the students who are reflective of our neighborhood. And so we hope in 2025 to continue that. So as I said before, we have a seasonal farm stand that features fruits and vegetables grown at the farm, and we also supplement those with produce from Grow NYC. So in the bottom right corner, that's our okra and long beans. And then in the top right, last year was our first time growing watermelon. So they were very pleased with all their hard work, and we got to share that at the farm stand. So one wonderful thing about our farm stand is in addition to cash and card, we accept SNAP EBT, Health Bucks, and most recently, Farmers Market Nutritional Program checks and Fresh Connect checks. I've provided images of these alternative forms of payment that we accept in case any resonate with you. This was a very important pivot for us because this past year we saw a nearly 500% increase in the amount of alternative currencies that we received. And that also contributed to an almost triple in it was a 25% increase in farm stand sales overall. So if anything, I would really want to encourage raising awareness about our farm stand and who we're able to serve. So very openly, I will just say that we are working to provide additional programs this year. So one of my favorite activities is beekeeping, and so we're looking to develop a pollination program that begins with the very plants that the bees seek out to extract pollen and honey from, up to maintaining the hives in which they store the nectar and convert it to honey. And then we're hoping that at two points in the year, we're able to run some activities for the community where they get to see what processing that honey looks like. So taking it from the panels and being able to ultimately jar the honey. So hopefully people get to leave with a tasty souvenir after that. We're also looking to encourage a more diverse host of vendors at our farm stand. So we're looking at some farmers from Jersey, nearby upstate, who come into the city and sell at other sites. And we're seeing if they would like to sell at our site as well. But we're also looking to other community gardens and community farms in the area who would be interested in vending at our site. And then like a big question that we have to consider as 2025 has taken off is what are some impacts on the community that we have to consider? What are some that come to mind? And so I know the previous speaker brought up some of those points, and I hope to discuss with you all what the outlook is and how we can continue working together to continue providing good programming, quality programming to East Flatbush. So with that, I'll say thank you. And if anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer.
Thank you so much, Paul. Judith has a question in the chat. What do you offer at your farmsteads?
Yeah, so we try and offer very culturally relevant crops. So we've offered bitter melon, the associate vines on which they grow. We've got okra, watermelon, muskmelon, cucumbers, various tomatoes, garlic, onions, both the green and white onion varieties we've grown in the past. We also do sweet potatoes that I swear have grown as big as my forearm. So it's very healthy soil. Different beans, so the long beans, string beans, pigeon peas. We've been able to grow a cold resistant variety. And then we have a bunch of different herbs. So we have basil, thyme, oregano, lemongrass, sage, rosemary, lavender. And we try and offer these at very reasonable prices. It's all organically grown. And again, when there are volunteer opportunities involved, we are more than happy to have people leave the site with something in tow. So any of the vegetables, any of the herbs, flowers that they like to collect, we really love to encourage that.
Thank you. Any more
Peppers for sure.
questions?
It's got to be Scotch bonnet though.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, oh, Jorge has one question.
Yes, good evening. Hey, thanks for the presentation. My question is regarding the herbs and the plants. Do you actually sell the plants at the beginning of the season, like the basils and so forth?
We do not sell. What we will do is offer them. We try and so starting in March, we'll be seeding a lot of trays that carry anywhere from 60 to 72 plants at a time. And we try and get a lot of the starts. Uh, because of our limited space, there's only so much that we can plant, but we have so many seeds left over. So we love to encourage people going home with some of the different vegetable starts that we get going. So
And
please come by.
thinking you
And
said
also
that
give us
starts in,
requests. Yeah.
yeah, that starts in March, you said?
We'll start seeding trays in March. I
Mhm.
won't expect any of the starts to be quite ready for taking away until the beginning of April, though. Once they get past the very sensitive stage, they're going to be started in the hoop house that we have. It works like a greenhouse, and it just helps them along and develop their true leaves. Oh, sorry about that. Um, in time for them to be transplanted.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And our last speaker is Cindy Reed, community organizer from East Flatbush Community Partnership.
Hello, everyone. Just going to share my screen shortly. Just want to check. Can everyone see their presentation? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could see it and I could hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, I can hear and see.
Thank you. Happy to be here. As said, Cindy Reed, community organizer with the East Flatbush Community Partnership. So I'm going to share is I always share that one of the main things about the partnership is that we're here to connect families to resources based on their need. We often get calls about housing, employment, immigration, and most recently between last year and this year is parents in need of basic essential items. We are funded by ACS as a preventative program, and our program is under JCCA, which is the Jewish Child Care Association. And that's basically overview of the partnership. We often host a lot of meetings and collaborate with partners to also host different various events. Again, connecting families to resources or providing some kind of skill training or information education wise. That's a brief overview of the partnership. I'm going to share some things that we have coming up. Monthly meetings. These are two of our monthly meetings, open door. This meeting is mainly geared to residents. We meet on the second Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. virtually via Zoom. This meeting has a lot of information. We started it when the pandemic first happened, and it was just a way of opening the door to residents, connecting them to resources. So we often have presenters just sharing different resources, events, and opportunities in the community, and also had workshops during these meetings based on what residents have requested. And then we also have the monthly general meeting. This meeting takes place on the fourth Thursday of each month from 3 to 5. It's highly attended by service providers, mostly attended by service providers, but open to the community. But with this time frame, mostly attended by service providers. This meeting is hybrid. It is virtual via Zoom and in person. Currently, we're meeting at My Time Inc. at 640 Parkside Avenue. I will be putting the link for both the meetings in the chat shortly. Excited to also share about our event for this month, which will be our annual Black History Family Cook-Off. It is a family cooking competition. We also will have a special empowering workshop for the youth and a celebrating the Black culture and history. So we look forward to that on February 22nd from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Campbell Beacon at PS 361, which is located at 1957 Nostrand Avenue. We'll be launching this flyer and the Eventbrite tomorrow. So you got it firsthand before everyone else. Also, we want to encourage anyone that's here to get involved that is from East Flatbush. We encouraging residents to join us for our governance team, help guide our community-focused work. It happens on the first Tuesday of each month from 4 to 5 via Zoom, and we are also offering a $15 gift card each meeting the resident attends. I will also for this in the chat shortly. And then lastly, stay connected. I'll encourage you to explore our website, which is at eastflatbushpartnership.org. Also follow us on Facebook or Instagram at East Flatbush Partnership. The email for the partnership in general is ef@cpp.jccany.org. And for my direct contact, my number is 347-675-7810. And my email is reidc@jccany.org. I will also be putting all this information in the chat so you can have that information as well, and open to questions now.
Thank you, Cindy. Not seeing any questions. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Thank you so much, Cindy.
You're welcome. Just trying to see how I can stop sharing. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Great. So moving on to the next order of business, I think Sydney's going to put her information in the chat. Um, approval, do you have approval of the meeting minutes for December and January 2024?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
yeah, before we do that, respectfully, I must say that we need to take the attendance to make sure we have a quorum. So, because I don't know
Okay.
if everyone, yes.
Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry. Was that Jorge?
Yes, George, go ahead, George.
Okay. George is fine. Um, Cindy Reed and I'm sorry, that was the speaker. Anne,
Hello, good night for you.
good night.
Asking
Jacqueline,
good night.
sorry, Jacqueline Williams.
Jacqueline Williams,
No.
yes.
Rona,
Yes.
got it. Vanetta, Vanetta,
Yes.
okay. Cheryl Saunders,
Here.
Adele Bennett,
Here, present.
Judith Aarons,
Yes, present.
and Audrey.
Present.
And I'm not sure who the phone number is. It's not showing a name. There's one more person. Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so approval of the meeting minutes for December.
I make a motion to approve. Jackie Williams, second the motion.
Thank you. Okay, and I just have a few announcements. Oh, sorry, the minutes are approved. A few announcements from the chair. There's a meet and greet scheduled, and there were 3 locations suggested for Lips Cafe on Nostrand, Drip Coffee Shop on Rogers, and Sweet Sunday Cafe on Beverly. I'm not sure if members have any preferences for a location for the meetup, but you can always email the chair with your suggestions or with your preference. There's also a partnership event taking place on February 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. at 1300 Utica Avenue. The Health Symposium with Maimonides Health, Community Concerns Network, and Community Board 17. Free dinner will be served, and you can register via the flyer that will be sent out. For the Neighborhood Composting Pilots Project, we will partner with New York City Public Schools. and there will be a park cleanup that will resume in May. Are there any suggestions for where we want to go for the park cleanup? There will also be a graffiti removal around the community board district. So if there are any suggestions for that, you can drop it in the chat or you can email us. Are there any other suggestions or questions? Nope. A few people are unmuted. No questions currently.
Not yet.
Jacqueline Williams.
Yes?
I'm sorry. Do you have something to say to add?
No, I don't.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Okay. Our next meeting is scheduled for March 4th at 7:30 with a presentation on plant poisoning prevention by Eduardo Torres, community health educator for the New York City Poison Control Center, Department of Health. And that is all of the announcements that I have, unless there is any unfinished business.
I don't have a question, just a comment. I just wanted to thank you for chairing the meeting in Berlotte's absence. I would just say that my silence is primarily because I'm feeling sad for her, but I really appreciate all the information that's been shared tonight, and just want to thank everybody.
Thank you so much. This is Rona. Rona speaking.
Yes, it was Rona speaking.
Thank you, Rona. Okay,
Excuse me, I have a question too on that note.
sure.
Is there anywhere we could send cards?
Oh, that's great question. Notion, is there an answer for that?
Okay, hello? Mhm. Yeah, this is George. I have an answer. Yeah, because I spoke to her. She gave me the address and said, yes, it's okay to send card.
Thank you so much, George. So how will we get that? Can somebody email it to, or put it on the chat, I guess?
Okay, because she texted me. Maybe you could call her because she texted me. I called her yesterday and I asked her for her address, and
Oh, I see.
she texted to me.
Well, could we
So
have a card from all of us, I guess, and then somebody be responsible to give it to, if possible, who wants to say
because
something or contribute?
We'll have to leave it at the board office.
Yeah, you guys can fill out a card and drop it off at the board office, and we can send it to Ms. Berlotte's house.
Oh, thanks, Farah. Thank you.
Perfect.
That's a
yeah,
very good idea. That's a very
as
good
as
idea.
as a heads up, I think she's planning to leave maybe by the weekend.
I don't know what this is called. I've also seen something where it's like a kind of like a virtual board, and people can write their messages and it could be sent digitally, and that just might be easier to coordinate if people want it to be like a joint effort.
Right, an
Um,
e-card. Mhm.
yeah, or there's like I I will send it to you. I will send it to you now, Shin. Yeah, and
That would be
you
great.
can share it with the committee and see if it's something that they would like to move forward with.
Will do. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's take one last. Okay, if that's it for announcements and questions, I move to adjourn.
Second it.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone.